Good afternoon, everyone. This side Sanjay Suman from ICMI Social Auditor Organization. Welcome to our program ESG implementations, challenges, and opportunities. Today's our guest faculty is Mr. Mayank Sharma. Sir, he is already joined. He is GRI certified sustainability professionals. So I'm welcoming to Mr. Mayank Sharma sir for this program. Welcome, sir, and good afternoon.
Thank you, Sanjay ji. Thank you for welcoming and good afternoon, everybody. And my name is Mayank Sharma. I'm basically from Rajasthan and situated in Dubai now. And thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity to discuss about the ESG implementation challenges and opportunities. I hope you can hear me well. If yes, kindly confirm, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I'll
Yes,
share
sir.
my screen. Once again, I need your confirmation so that I hope you can see the screen.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Thank you once again. Okay. I'm working in this ESG sustainability EHS domain since last my 15 years, and I have masters of chemical sciences plus masters of engineering and environmental health and safety. Plus I have CSP, ASP, and I'm GRI certified sustainability professional. And when I say GRI certified sustainability professional, basically you might be thinking about what I'm talking about actually related to ESG or sustainability or non-financial indicators basically. Okay, so I'll be discussing in detail during my due course of discussion. I once again thank you everybody for joining the session. I am really thankful that you are sharing your time with me for having this conversation also. I need this quite interactive, so I might ask certain questionnaire. You all are well experienced and more experienced than me. But again, please forgive me if I have anything But let us have this program more interactive. So I might ask certain questionnaires in between. Okay, so I'll proceed for that. And when I start and discussing about the ESG implementation challenges and opportunity, but first of all, let us understand basically nowadays what this ESG terminology is and why this is becoming so viral nowadays actually. So when I talk about ESG, sustainability, climate change, or even about the human rights, labor rights, so many other factors or indicators or parameters are there through which we are monitoring the performance of any organization. But again, let me ask you one question: that what exactly this ESG is? So I'll be requiring your feedback or maybe requesting your feedback related to that. But let me take you through with one of the slide which I wanted to highlight to you. I hope you can see my slide very clearly. There are two pictures in this. One is about a plant where I have showcased around 5 different body parts of the plant itself. You can see roots, stem, fruit, leaves, and flowers. What do you understand from this plant itself? What exactly, why I have highlighted these different components or different body parts of the plant? Actually, is somebody interested to share their feedback? How do you correlate it with the environmental social governance? Any of you, sir or ma'am? Anybody interested to share their feedback related to this? What do you think about this plant and how do you correlate with ESG actually? Is anybody interested? No. Okay, I'll give you one hint related to that. Okay, think about the leaves first. What these leaves are, doing for us actually, how they, provide certain life system required or support for us basically to the human being. What exactly the leaves are providing? They are converting the carbon dioxide into the glucose in the photosynthesis process. And of course, that is what is one of the parameter of environment actually in the ESG pillars. environmental pillars. Basically what is happening, we all are looking for certain, area of improvements or opportunities where these leaves are more or more available for us. And during the, during the photosynthesis process, these leaves can store the carbon and they can convert that carbon dioxide into the glucose. That's what we are, one of the area which we are looking for. And that is one of the pillar of ESG. Second thing, when we talk about the fruits, what fruits basically giving us? Okay, is that giving you the revenue? Is that giving us the, the food security? Or is that giving us certain life saving requirements? Yes, they are giving us certain food products which we are utilizing in day-to-day life. So that's nothing but again your social part, actually social governance, social part actually in these ESG pillars actually, if you see that. So one of the one of the parameters which we can consider when we are, let's say we are into the agriculture sustainability, when we talk about the, different plant related or nature related, ESG discussions are happening. So one, I told you about emission reduction. Second thing, we are caring about the societies by having more and more food forest, let's say suppose, and we are growing multiple different type of food plants which can support the life actually. Then third thing is, when we talk about this stem of the tree or the plant, what basically the stem of the tree is providing us, as much as that diameter of the stem is enough, as much as the, the strongness of the diameter, we think about that our governance system is strong enough to, have these leaves and the fruits. So what I'm concerning here actually, I'm much concerned about the governance part, the policies, the procedures, the guidelines, the instructions, right? Which is helping any organization to have the green leaves, to have the full, development of the fruits, and definitely it will be, taking all the necessary, the relevant required, nutrients from the roots actually. So that is why the governance system must be strong enough. Okay, one example was that. Second example, I hope some of you are using, or all of you are using Apple phone or iPhone, or maybe Android phones also. But let us take an example of the Apple phone. Maybe some of you are very much fond of Apple phone, and you started buying the Apple phone since the beginning itself. But what happened when you started the journey of buying the Apple phone each and every day, like every whenever new versions are coming of this Apple phone, you are buying immediately that phone. Why? What is that actually? There are certain upgrades. There are certain updates in that. So definitely when we go for this new version, that's what the meaning is. ESG is not new to us. Sustainability is not new to us. We are following sustainability. We are practicing sustainability ESG since long actually. Means we have in each and every department, we are focusing on sorry, sustainability and ESG actually. We are focusing on that. Now, when somebody said to me during the conferences or the meetings that, Mayank, why we are discussing so much about ESG and sustainability now? And mostly the board of directors, mostly the senior management and the top management, they are always asking this question. Sorry, why we sorry why we take this highlight of ESG always, and we are discussing this topic. Is that new to us? No, it's not new to us. Since beginning, whenever we start any department, any function of the business, it's always there. We can streamline the ESG and sustainability always with all the departments. Think about whenever we start any factory, definitely the electricity is required, and we can think of that whether that electricity is coming from the fossil fuels or the renewable energy sources. So definitely it's not new, but only the thing, because of the frameworks changing, because of the standards are changing, definitely we are moving ahead and we are adopting the new practices and we are aligning ourselves with the new and new standards day by day. So that is what I wanted to focus in this example here. So ESG not new, sustainability is not new for us. We are practicing it since long, And definitely I try to give you one example related to this plant or the tree. See what we can say. There are different pillars in we can consider here in the plant itself, which can be correlate with the ESG actually. Then I go to the next slide, where you can see certain examples related to the environmental social governance pillars. I want you to understand first what these factors are, what these materiality topics are. In our language or ESG or sustainability language, we call it materiality topics, and we see these topics in different standards or the frameworks, whether it is GRI or BRSR or SASB or TCFD or UNGC. Any framework or standard we talk about, we think about these certain factors or the materiality topics. But can you please now tell me what ESG is? If somebody wants to share their experience related to this.
Yeah, I'm Suresh Jain.
Hi, sir. Good
Am I
afternoon.
audible? Good
Yes,
afternoon.
sir.
See, in ESG, if I take social takes care of everything nowadays, right from value chain to even your stakeholders, everyone will include into your social part of it. And
That's great. Yeah.
as far as environment is concerned, environment again we can talk about everything will include into it. Your living things, non-living things, everything will be part of your environment. And governance is individually how each enterprise takes it, entity takes it, whether they want to govern it themselves or they want the ruling of an outside agency like government to govern it, whatever it is, that can be the governance. That's what I feel about ESG.
That's great, sir. That's great. Wonderfully, you have explained everything related to ESG. But again, one thing, how do we differentiate from sustainability? Because when we talk about all these social, environmental, and governance side, everything was earlier also available. But then why only we are terming it ESG nowadays actually? Because we
Yeah,
were
because
practicing it
I, th-
before.
I think because we want the sustainability is what the word sustainable itself means कि at least whatever is there today we can keep it at that level. That's what I would say. And so
Wonderful, sir. So
that's why we have to understand how can we mitigate all these uh, anti-sustainable efforts.
yeah, that's great, sir. So to measure those efforts, by the way, I'm 110% agree with you. So when I say that we have to, have certain efforts to have the world sustainable in terms of all the three triple bottom line of economics, environment, and social part. But again, we need to measure the performance of any organization with respect to those all three pillars: social, environmental, and governance. So as you well said that we have these practices. Let's say taking an example of governance side, we talk about the board diversity, we talk about their ethics, code of conducts, we talk about the climate change, natural resources, we talk about the supply chain, labor management, health and safety, everything. These are individually also available in their different departments or business functions. But again, we want to integrate everything with respect to the enterprise risk. What is the overall risk to any organization? So we want to measure the performance of all those risk indicators basically, and we want to integrate it with the ESG frameworks or ESG standards, which we are practicing internationally and uniformly nationally as well. Right. So the basic definition of ESG is that we want to measure the sustainability performance of any organization with respect to the defined framework for us, and we record the data related to that, and we analyze those data, and we sanitize those data, and we take that data to the board for their approval and consideration for the further or future business boardroom decisions actually. So basically we are looking for certain topics where we can focus, we can invest our time, money, and efforts actually. Now, next picture, maybe you can see very clearly. There are four pictures. I tried to put it here. Don't take me wrong, but I have one example here. Generally, you see this in each and every house. We see a practice, common practice. We are removing our shoes or slippers outside the house. Okay. Some houses you see there is a notice board. There is a signage also pasted. Okay. then what is happening? People are removing the shoes outside the door, but not placed in a sequential manner, or maybe haphazardly it has been kept there. Third picture, if I explain to you that the shoes or slippers have been removed outside, but they have been kept just immediate to the door, maybe somebody is crossing this door, maybe he or she can fall down. Okay. Then fourth thing is, we have a very well placed rack where we can keep all the slippers and shoes outside, and there is a proper discipline in the house. And whenever somebody is coming from outside, we are well explaining him, or and even he can or she can visualize the things, and they can understand there is a proper discipline of maintaining the things in the house. How do you correlate this picture with the ESG? Can somebody put their highlights on this? What I mean to talk about?
Yeah, in case of management commitment well driven across the labor force, everybody is able to follow the same discipline across the organization, and the organization excels in performance.
Thank you, sir. Definitely, there are a lot many stakeholders who are directly or indirectly involved in our business. Okay, they come up with their ideas, they come up with their practices, they come up to our premises, they enter through the main security gate, they come inside our premises, they talk about their own practices, they talk about their own code of conducts, they talk about their own ethics. But are those ethics as per our own requirements, right? So my focus is on this governance part. Basically, when I say the governance, the system, the policies, the procedures, the guidelines, the discipline, what I try to maintain in-house, in my premises, in my organization, right? Everybody, whether he's an external stakeholder in terms of suppliers or vendors, or I talk about the whole supply chain, downstream, upstream, wherever. So my focus is to streamline everybody as per my adopted international standard or national standard. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to highlight here. I need to focus on this, first of all, governance part. Without governance, there is no environment, there is no social part possible without it. So definitely, as you correctly mentioned, sir, the commitment is required. The commitment is required. I just want to highlight one example here. Everybody in our house, we have the water tank at the rooftop. Okay, and with the gravitational force, the water is flowing from top to bottom for our domestic supplies, right? But whenever we need to have that water from the ground floor to the rooftop tank, definitely we need to operate through motors or the pumps actually. Sorry. So it means some horsepower is required. What is that horsepower? Can I tell the security guard to sign the ESG or sustainability policy and everybody will be ready to follow that? Sorry to say, but it is not possible until and unless the top boss of the organization, chairman, CEO, MD, he's not signing the policy and he's not fully committed to it. So that's what my meaning is, to set a discipline for this house, particularly the house boss, top member of the house, top member of the organization, either he or she is the chairman or MD or CEO of the highest governance body, or the chairman of the board of directors or the organization itself. He has to commit by himself in terms of policies, in terms of commitments, or in terms of the leadership attributes actually. So we need to set certain discipline here, we need to set certain governance structure, and we need to stringently or strictly follow that also. Okay, so this is what example I wanted to share, because if you don't have that commitment, if you don't have that leadership quality, definitely you adopt any standard, it is not going to give you any meaningful or fruitful results out of it. Okay, so when I talk about a ESG framework in any organization which we are planning to implement, which we are like either GRI or BRSR or any standard or framework I talk about, which we want to implement and collect data for that, definitely I need to have certain background exercises, some background I will zoom it for you, maybe I hope you can see it clearly. when I start to talk about any management framework, definitely I need to start from some conceptual background work, some strategic work actually. First of all, I need to identify where I am, where we are, where in terms of any organization, where we are exactly. So we need to go for some ESG maturity assessment or gap assessment, so that we can understand either we are in a situation to adopt any standard or framework, or still we need to have certain homework so that we can come up to certain level and we can proceed further. So for that we need to have either certain benchmarking studies, or we can go for peer review programs where we can have standard management practices which we can adopt, best operating practices, standard operating practices which we can adopt in future. So let us start from one of the practice called designing and developing the sustainability or ESG policy for that organization. Okay, what is that policy? What it covers? Is that only talk about environmental, social governance commitments? Is that taking you to the commitment in terms of your actual relevant targets, quantitative figures also, where you can see your own objectives, goals, targets also, right? It's not that I'm simply saying that I will reduce 25% of my emissions from scope 1. I cannot say that blindly, right? I need to have certain technical studies, certain feasibility studies, whether I will be able to deliver that or not. Sorry. The next is I need to set up the operational and organizational boundaries. Scope setting we need to fix actually. Either the practices which I'm adopting is only applicable to me or to my supply chain as well. So that supply chain, downstream, upstream, we need to define that scope. Either I'm working only in India, I'm working only in UAE, or I have the multiple locations throughout the world where I have my factories or the practices. So there also I'm adopting the similar practices, right? I request kindly mute please, because I'm getting some echo. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Kindly mute, please, from your side. If scope we need to fix here, then definitely we, when we talk about the designing the governance structure, we talk about the board members, we talk about their selection criteria. And let's talk about a company where the director himself is or herself is not aware what ESG is exactly, what sustainability meaning is, and we are focusing a lot in future about sustainability and ESG, but ultimately there is no commitment. So I'm really sorry to say, but there is no meaning of this discussing ESG and sustainability. Then further, we need to talk about the responsibility matrices, the roles and responsibilities to be fixed for different organizations. Because when I say we have the framework, selected framework, we have policies, we have procedure, but until unless we don't have capable and competent human resource, we cannot get the results what we are planning for actually. Then we need to start certain exercises. The first of our foremost important exercise is to talk to the stakeholders. Stakeholders can be internal or external, but we need to talk to them to have the feedbacks from them related to ESG and sustainability. We need to listen to them actually, their grievances. At the same time, we are discussing about two-way communication, how business can be impacted, and at the same time how stakeholders can be impacted. We need to so for that purpose we need to engage with the stakeholders. And once we
So here I would like to tell you one thing. Now the stakeholders list is very big as per ESG, and
yes
we
sir.
need to first find out who are our stakeholders. Corporates do not know who are their stakeholders now as per ESG requirement, if I'm not wrong.
Sorry sir, because some background noise is coming, your voice is not bit clear now.
No, what I'm trying to say is, first we have
Yes
to
sir.
find out who are our stakeholders, because the
Yes.
corporates they do not know as of now who all are involved in the stakeholders list. Now the stakeholders list
Yeah,
is very
yeah,
large. Everyone is
I'm coming to
included
that
in
sir.
stakeholders. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
I'm coming to that point sir. I'm
Okay.
coming to
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah, thank you sir. Is that mic belongs to you, this the one which is unmuted? Some echo sound is coming sir.
There's
No,
somebody called
I
AJ
unmuted
Vaishnath.
immediately.
Yeah, there's somebody called AJ Vaishnath. He's put his mic on, and that's the reason why this echo is coming.
I
Yes,
request
I
to the
think
coordinator, please, can you mute him?
AJ
Please?
Vidyanathan.
AJ
Because some,
Vaidyanathan. I think he's the one who's put his mic on.
okay.
That's true.
I request to the organization, kindly mute the person, please. Okay, sir, to your question, I'm coming back to the point. When we talk about the stakeholder engagement, definitely, I totally agree with you that we need to identify and prioritize our stakeholders, by the way. And we need to see what there are. Actually, there are two factors which we consider to identify and prioritize our stakeholder: their influence and their interest in the business, actually. So these are the two factors which we are considering for, practicing these exercises for ESG, and identifying and prioritizing the stakeholders to list down our, next materiality topics which can lead to the potential significant impact, not only to the business and to the society as well, actually, and to the environment as well. So while we are going for this exercise of this stakeholder engagement and materiality assessment in any organization, definitely we need to have certain identification exercise for the stakeholders also. But again, we need to, as you correctly said, sir, some of the organizations, they might not be aware about who are their stakeholders, who are the internal and external stakeholders. So definitely, as a consultant, I'm also supporting them, helping them out that these can be your stakeholders. But again, certain benchmarking studies or, the peer review programs can also be helping them out to identify their stakeholders as well. So these are certain, I hope I have answered you correctly, sir. Okay, then
Yes, sir. Thank you.
thank you, sir. When we hello. Hello. Okay, sir. So when we go to the next materiality assessment, this is a very crucial exercise for us, sir. Because if you see, to identify any business or enterprise risk in the organization, first of all, we need to identify those particular areas or the focus area where we can, put our time, money, and efforts. Okay, so that we can bring down that risk level, or either we can say completely avoiding or eliminating that risk if possible. If not possible, then we need to think about the next steps, actually, or plan B. So we need to first of all identify those topics, basically materiality topics. Let's say either it can be related to the cyber security, or it can be related to the product safety, or it can be related to the business conducts, or it can be related to the public policies, or gender diversity. It can be different topics. But again, how to find those topics out, actually? What relevant background work or process must be completed to, find out those materiality topics for any organization? So it's not a, half an hour job where basically we go to any of the stakeholder and he will simply tell us that no, it is not never possible within a half an hour we can. But yeah, there are certain organizations which can, tell you the pre-prepared list as well of, 10 to 15 materiality topics. But again, when we adopt a certain framework like GRI, we need to complete this exercise. If we go simply for SASB, Sustainability Accounting Standard Board, there is already the topics defined, right? So it depends upon standard, it depends upon framework, and it depends upon the organizations also. So how frequently they are practicing their materiality assessment, and we come to know what are those potential impact creating materiality topics which can lead to, either it can be a positive and negative impacts also. But again, if we are not complying with the requirement, definitely it can lead to certain risk as well, which is again in terms of negative impacts. But there is a term in this language called actual and potential positive and negative impacts. We call them actual and potential. Now and in future, what can be positive or negative impacts can be created by this particular materiality topic, if we are working on it or if we are not working on it. But again, going further, we need to have certain matrices and KPIs for monitoring the ESG performance for these materiality topics, what we have prioritized and listed. Okay, and we need to monitor their performance throughout the financial year. Either you go for quarterly review, or go annually review, or half yearly. It depends upon your organization. But again, we need to have those KPIs to match the performance with respect to those goals, objectives, and targets what you have already defined. But again, when you have this goals, objectives, targets, KPIs, matrices, and you are reviewing your performance also, okay, in future when we go for evaluation side, but these has to be fixed, these has to be set first of all as per your organizational context and the discussion based on the stakeholder engagement processes. So we need to sometime have the change management sessions or the sustainability capacity building exercises, because as sir very correctly said, that we need to make the stakeholders aware the what exactly the stakeholder engagement is, what materiality assessment is, and what the meaning of ESG and sustainability also. So nowadays we need to create that awareness, and we need to talk about their development of the capacity in terms of sustainability and ESG. As I said in my previous step, that we have set certain KPIs, matrices, and targets. So definitely we need to have the monitoring throughout and the KPI data recording and reporting. But for that also we need to have capable hands who can practice this as well. Okay, so we need to ensure the who are those ESG champions in different business functions. Okay, either they are groomed enough or the trained enough or made competent enough to have this data capture capabilities, and they can report us accurately what we are requiring for. Sometimes, as I said earlier, that we need to go for certain benchmarking studies to align our matrices and KPI. Let's say suppose we are working in a plastic industry or maybe oil and gas industry, so similarly we can have a look on the sustainability or ESG report of the competitive people in the market, and we can download their report and we can see what materiality topics they have selected. So definitely, to being in the market and to remain in the market and to have that competitive edge, we can go certain times benchmarking assessment also. But based on our assessments and the performance monitoring, we definitely go for certain management reviews or the board reviews or the highest governance body reviews. They will come up with certain action plans, right? Certain actions or decisions, and that decision has to be continued further. Like again, I repeat my statement that we need to invest time, money, and efforts to achieve our actions actually. Okay, so that we can streamline with our objectives and targets. Okay, so again, further certain education, communication protocols to be developed for stakeholders. So this is the the basic structure of the framework which we generally have for any organization to implement. But again, I see there are a lot of challenges in this. It's not so simple task that stakeholders will also be agree to you to have the discussion. They will understand immediately materiality assessment, and they will start working you and joining hands together. They will start working parallelly with you. But no, it's not so quite simple also. There are lot of challenges are coming into this actually. But as I highlighted to this, again, I want to highlight one more subject that is called POPI MR. And this you can compare with any organization, like you have ESG policy, you have the organization structure, the right, competent, capable, human being available who can help you out to achieve the goals and objectives and targets of your organization. Then at the same time, we need to have ESG plans, ESG manuals, ESG standard operating practices, so that we can implement those. Even certain service level agreements between different business functions. And finally, we go for performance measurement. So we need to have certain leading and lagging indicators. We design those matrices based on the frameworks or the standards which we have adopted for reporting actually. Then again, we review the performance. Our committees are there, our board is there, our chairman is there, our management is there. They review the performance, and we can apply this auditing function to each and every component of this management system structure actually. But this is a theoretically looks good. You need certain levers or drivers who can implement this effectively actually. So we need to have drivers. As I said, the full-fledged commitment is required from the board. Then we need to have the effective governance structure. We need to have the right, qualified, competent people who can help us to achieve our objectives and goals. Who is designing the plans? Who is implementing the plans? Who are monitoring the performance? So we need to have those practices in place So those best practices in place. So we need to certain times we need to embrace the technology. Maybe the nowadays the Excel sheets or the for data collection, it's not, it's a very lengthy task. So definitely companies have adopted for the app-based services or the web platforms also. So there are certain area of improvements or opportunities are there where we can focus and collect the data. Sorry. Then we talk about certain other challenges which we are facing in this particular implementation of ESG. I will discuss with you, but again, designing the policy and having the auditing and reviews, this also in each and every step we have certain challenges which I am going to discuss further. I hope you can see this picture clearly, and I have certain questionnaires here, sir. Can you, I just need your 1 minute or 2 minute time. Kindly read these statements here. And I just take one example of emission factor, emission materiality topic here, and kindly tell me what is the meaning I want to highlight here. Is there any challenge, integrated to it? Is there any development or opportunity areas are there? So can you please focus on this, forklift driver who is driving the diesel driven forklift, and kindly read these 6 questions, and kindly suggest or recommend your statement that what I'm looking for actually. Is somebody interested? Too much disturbance is happening because of this one mic.
So I'm sure this has been driven by an expert who can drive a forklift, a driver. And then the second part, what you're asking, who is reporting fuel consumption data for this vehicle and how frequently is reporting? I'm sure there should be a logbook for the fuel, whatever is going out and whatever is coming in. There should be a logbook. But when we compare it with the logbook, then we'll come to know how much fuel has gone into it and how much is being consumed.
That's great, sir. The logbook.
Now let others also answer, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure, sir. Sure. Anybody else who wants to put their opinion?
The ESG coordinator will compile all the data and consolidate it for the entire factory or the enterprise what we are talking.
That's great, sir. One more person we have, ESG coordinator. Yeah, that's great. Anybody else?
Whether the driver is competent enough to drive this vehicle.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. We are talking about driving safety also. Yeah, but the topic currently is the emissions. Let's focus on this actually.
Even fuel consumption will be part of it.
Yeah, fuel consumption will be a part of it. I totally agree. Okay, agree to it. Let me explain.
The maintenance in charge will take care of the emission levels and report it on time to coordinator.
First of all, I just want to highlight about sorry, sir. Yes, please.
May I say something, Mayank? May I add something?
Yeah, please, sir.
I mean,
please. Go ahead.
Great gentlemen, they have already listed out several points, valued points actually, but just few things. Maybe it's depend on organization, how's their structure. Again, like you said, PopMart. So how is their structure? Do they have any? First of all, do they have policies in place to report or record diesel consumptions? And then how is their process to make their employees trained in not only just reporting, also understanding why they are reporting, why it is important, why we are collecting this data, the importance of data collection. So because it's usually happened in many organizations, so we do collect and report actually a lot of data, but very few people utilize that data. And otherwise, it's just still lying in folders or in files, because there is no use of that data if you are not properly sanitizing or analyzing those data. So it's maybe important, first of all, to create awareness, to have policies in place, then create awareness, make them responsible and accountable for reporting, recording, right data, correct data, accurate data. And then once this data is reported, then sanitize and analyze. So a few just things I would like to add.
That's great, sir. Thank you.
One more point, the maintenance of the vehicle.
Sorry?
Maintenance of this vehicle.
Yeah, maintenance of this vehicle also we are considering one of the factors, sir. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Mayank. One answer I would like to give you. Suresh Jain here again.
Yes,
one
sir.
is one is whether he is actually eligible to drive this vehicle or not. Second is how his, what I'm trying to say is safety part of him, whether he's safe or not in driving this vehicle.
Yeah.
So these are the two things
I
I would like to say.
Okay, sir. I totally agree with you all. Okay,
One
we
more
will
aspect I
consider.
can tell.
Yes, sure, sir.
Yeah.
Sure. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, one more aspect is that the manufacturers, that is the OEM manufacturers, that is original equipment manufacturers data should be compared to the emission
Wonderful,
level,
sir. Wonderful.
whether
You
it
are
is within
going
the
ahead. Yeah.
regulatory norms.
Yes, 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 yes. I was expecting this actually. Yeah, thank you. So we have now we have multiple factors to be considered. Wonderful. I will go one by one actually. Okay, let's see this picture and this person by the way, and let's consider this person who is is a forklift driver and giving us the fuel consumption data for this particular forklift. First of all, let me ask you one question. Who appointed this person? Who selected this person? Is he, competent enough to understand the fuel consumption, units, the liters, the gallons, the different requirements of the vehicle? Or even he just, made for the purpose, like you can simply sign the logbook and simply send it. Okay, lot many times you might have found that during your audits or during your inspections that these people are not well aware about the environmental related matters, the safety related matters, or maybe the different issues. But let me focus on this particular subject now. Okay, who appointed this person? Now let us have this question: who is driving this vehicle? This person is having the valid driving license. Okay, agreed, yes or no, he's having that driving license. But the point here is, when I talk about this particular materiality topic which is being recorded in the sustainability or ESG report, is he the right person to capture the fuel consumption data? Is he reporting accurately? Is he following the principles of the GRI based reporting or BRSR reporting, or what we are expecting from him? So that is what I'm going through actually. Now second thing, that who is reporting this fuel consumption data, is he understand that what exactly I'm reporting and to whom I am reporting? Is he understanding that communication protocol? Third thing, who has appointed this person? Was there any particular selection criteria which was completed? Was that a part of your governance program? Was that ever recorded somewhere? Right? Who has ensured his competency as a suitable person for ESG related data reporting? I am much concerned about ESG implementation part now. Sorry, because I was.
But sir, 1 minute.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be an expert to know about the emission and ESG. Once he reports, there is to be a senior who would always check it, whether what he is reporting and how that can be correlated to the total ESG of the corporate.
Sir, I'm just asking only fuel consumption. I have not asked him to report the emission. I'm just saying that whether.
I think he would be eligible enough to report the fuel consumption.
Yes, he will be eligible enough, right? But my point here is, sir, let's say suppose when you are going for any audit or any governance related, scrutinizing of the organization, maybe in the due diligence also, I just kept this picture intentionally actually. Okay, there can be multiple heavy equipments which are being utilized in the organization. What my point here is, the selection criteria for this person to be included in any of your governance records which you can consider in the SOPs or any of the record.
Sir, is there any ESG manual developed for the purpose?
Sorry?
Is there any ESG manual in organizations for this purpose to record all the information and follow the guidelines?
Yeah, it is required.
Okay.
Sorry. It is required.
Yeah, it has to be maintained. Without maintenance, how are we going to report? Yes.
We can develop SOPs for these kind of practices for.
As one of us very correctly said, that logbook has to be maintained, and logbook is one of the part of the governance structure, your SOPs, standard operating procedures. Right. But let me ask you in that way. I am highlighting one word here in each and every question. Right, sir? I highlighted one word very, clearly, and I put it in the bold letters also.
Yes.
You talked about the driver, you talked about the ESG coordinator, you talked about the supervisor, you talked about the maintenance supervisor, you talked about different nominated appointed people who are supporting you in ESG implementations. That is what my intention. When I'm asking this question, I keep highlighted this question and putting this word in the bold actually. There are multiple stakeholders who are involved in our business. Either they are internal or external, whether they are really aware that what we are expecting from them in terms of ESG actually. That is what my question is, sir. So this is the main challenge, as Suresh sir, I think you have correctly highlighted earlier, that are those stakeholders real, the organizations are really aware that who is my stakeholder. And
Yes.
next question is whether that stakeholder, where what I am identifying and prioritizing, whether he's very well aware about what is exactly ESG and what is sustainability, right? So that was what, and this is one of my major challenge in any organization which I face regularly, that when I implement ESG and try to find out the opportunities in that section.
Very true,
Now,
sir. Very true.
yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for support, sir. And now let's see this picture also. And I will tell you, this is the highest governance body of any organization. Let's say board of directors. Okay, what we are expecting from them actually in terms of ESG?
A firm commitment to implement the policies.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful commitment from each and everybody. Now let's say suppose
Adequate resources.
adequate resources. Yes, this mic is disturbing a lot actually. Can you please request to the person if somebody is hearing me? Now, when I talk about their composition, the director's composition, we all are from corporate governance background, and when we talk about the international standards also, and you are well experienced than me, but let me have the discussion here. When we talk about their commitments, but before commitment, let us ask one question: whether he or she is well aware about what ESG is.
Very true, sir. Otherwise, we will have to appoint an external director who would be responsible for it and who would be holding the committee of ESG.
Yeah. Second option is also available, sir.
Yeah, we can have an independent director also for it who can be more responsible for it.
Yeah, that's great, sir. Thank you for your
Or we
support, sir.
can engage a third party also for this purpose. Third party agency.
Yeah, we can have a committee also for this purpose, right? Now the point here is that chairman particularly is interested in doing so actually, or other board members are agree for it.
Not always.
Not always, right, sir? So this can be also one of the challenge, and this is the major hurdle for any organization to implement ESG or sustainability in any organization. Let's talk about the same commitment. I have my scope 2 emissions, I have my scope 2 emission, 1 emission, and 3 emissions. But when I committed as a chief sustainability officer, sir, I'm planning to have a discussion with my all the chiefs of the business function, and we will come to know that whether 20% or 25% emission reduction from scope 1 we will do by 2030 actually. Let's say support. But when I'm going with this proposal to the board, and board first question is, okay, what will be the expenses, what will be the cost associated to it? Okay, 100 crore, 200 crore, because it will not happen only by talking actually, right? I will go to the board and board is saying, okay, yeah, you can proceed, no problem. It is never possible like that, right? Simply blindly anybody will approve, it will never happen. So they will ask the technical evaluations earlier what you have conducted, right? This is just one of the example I'm taking. I'm there can be multiple 15 20 materiality topics where the investment is required, but let us take only one example here: emissions reduction, either going through energy transition or going through energy efficiency or different methodologies are there. But is board agree to it? Is the top management agree to it? So that is where the commitment comes into the picture and the leadership qualities comes into the picture actually, right? But I'll show you one slide here, and where I have the full structure of any management, ESG management concept actually. You see here the purpose, objectives, the goals, the targets, the reporting framework, what you have adopted, the materiality assessment, stakeholder engagement, and the data what you have collected from stakeholders, its validation, the reporting of that data, controversy monitoring, maybe certain idiosyncratic issues are also there, which you can unwanted issues, unwanted risks are there, and that you need to monitor in any organization actually. So again, it's a part of your ESG risk management, where what we see, each and every step of these seven phases what I have highlighted, we have different problems, we have different challenges. Either it can be related to the person, it can be related to the equipment, it can be related to the raw material, it can be related to the environment, it can be related to the supply chain, it can be related to the logistics. Different problems are possible, the challenges are possible, the commitments problems are possible. So this challenge starts from the top itself, where we starting the maturity assessment, the gap assessment of the organization. What is our purpose for having the ESG report? Just for greenwashing purpose we are utilizing that report, or we have certain commitments or individual commitments for having the positive impact towards the society and the environment. So in each and every phase, reporting, either we select about the reporting framework, GRI, SASB, BRSR, or we go for materiality assessment, how stringent that process you followed, how stringently effectively we followed the stakeholder engagement process, data validation. I'm asking data in liters, somebody is reporting in gallons. Then again, just one example only. So there can be multiple challenges which we face related to each and every different phase, right? And then what is the current trend in the market is that we are branding ourselves by having certain positive impacts to the society, to the environment. For that purpose we are effectively implementing the ESG into the organization, or just for greenwashing purpose we are having that particular report of 100 pages or 200 pages, right? Then the major challenge which I face, and clients are also confused, they think like there are multiple of standards and frameworks, maybe GRI, UNGC, UNPRI, EPFI, TCFD, SASB. People are confused that what we are talking about. But let me summarize you. GRI having 37 different standards, 37 standards, and 37 different topics they talk about. CDP only 3, TCFD 4, UNGC 6, so a BRSR 9 principles are there. So there are different topics. But why we are making people confused? No, we are not making confused. Just simple solution is that okay, let's take example of GRI and take example of SDG. We have 17 SDG which can be easily mapped with the 37 of the GRI indicators actually, right? GRI topics actually. But we don't need to make the clients confused, and people should also not be confused, because if I ask emission data, or if I ask for energy efficiency data, if I ask waste related data, which will remain same for one framework and will remain same for another framework, right? Emission data will not change, your scope 1 2 3 will not change for the framework, because it is coming from the same organization, same department, same person calculating, everything is same. Then why we are confused? It should not be confused. Okay, the framework can change, but the topics can remain same for the organization actually. So there are multiple challenges related to the selection of the framework itself. How transparent we are in giving the information, how accurate, precise we are in giving the information. So that is what we are looking for. There are different challenges, but again, always we can say if there is a risk, we definitely have certain area for improvement and to control the risk actually. So there are a lot of opportunities when we go through with the effective ESG risk assessment methodologies. We talk to the stakeholders, we effectively engage them, we discuss with them, we brainstorming with them, we definitely come to know certain opportunities are there. When we have roundtable discussion, definitely every problem can solve. So there can be challenges from the the commitment to the execution level, to the policy designing level, to the data gathering level, but there is always room for improvement and we can improve further. And if we effectively implement, because time is running short, I have only 3 minutes, so we definitely have certain benefits also. We make our investors happy, we make our stakeholders happy, we definitely go for reducing our ESG related risk. Either it can be market risk, reputation risk, or maybe financial, non-financial risk, or legal compliance related risk. So there are always room for improvement. We can work upon for those opportunities and we can reduce the risk. Okay, and definitely our stakeholders are becoming happy with that. That's all from my side. Thank you very much, and if you have any queries, you can ask me, sir.
Can you throw some light on the GRI certification process?
Sure, sir. I will. GRI certification processor, we have two routes basically. GRI route A, route B. In route A, you have to complete their 4 modules through their GRI Academy website. And for route B, you can take help of 2 agencies are available in India. I like BSI and KPMG. Through them, you can complete the first 2 modules, and then you can go for again 2 modules to the GRI Academy website. So once you complete all these 4 modules, you can go for exam, which is of 1 hour, and this is like 40 questions from actually they are asking the questions like fill in the blanks. Okay, first is fill in the blank, then second is true false, third one is single choice, and fourth one is multiple choice questionnaires actually. So minimum 75% marks you need to get to clear that exam, and you can write the exam from your home also. Okay, so it's only 1 hour, but again you need to complete the whole process of GRI to go for that exam, right?
And anything you can guide about the costing part of it to complete the course?
Sure, sir. I can tell you for if you go for route A, it will cost you around 1,250 euros, which is through GRI Academy website. And when you are going through first 2 modules with their certified training partner, it will cost you around 30 to 40,000. It depends what is the rate now there. I don't know, but the second 2 steps plus exam will cost you 650 euros actually. So that's how the costing is.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome, sir.
So what is the scope
Somebody-
of ESG in India? Like for which all corporates it is mandatory?
Now it will be mandatory everywhere, man.
Presently, it is mandatory for the 1,000 top listed companies.
Everywhere it will be, man.
And like the GRI certifications I was talking about, apart from that, what all like exams and what all preparations should we do for taking up ESG audit?
Actually, yeah, I will tell you, ma'am. There are very wonderful classes available through their GRI Academy website, plus their certified training partners. But if you are coming to me, I can help you before exam and completing their all modules. Okay, so I can coach and I can guide you that how to write in the exam. That's what my role is actually. But I need at least 3 to 4 hours to guide you for that purpose.
So how are our
GRI
MSMEs
for Indian-
tuned in for the
Sorry, one by one, please. Sorry, ma'am.
GRI certification will work for all Indian companies also, right?
GRI is throughout the world. Top 10,000 companies of the world, they are preparing their report based on GRI only.
how are the
And
MSMEs
I
going to
am
meet this criteria for the
sorry,
ESG?
sir. Shyam, sir,
How
yes,
are the
please.
how are the MSMEs geared up totally for this ESG compliance?
Sir, I think after some time there will not be any choice also.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. After some time there will not be any option to go. Either I should go or I should not go. I think it will be mandatory for everybody actually.
So it will be becoming like ISO 9000 and other similar standards, right?
Still it is voluntary. ISO is voluntary, and nobody is saying that you go for ISO 9000 until unless he's your customer or investor actually.
No, in
Right?
case of exports, it is mandatory for most of the companies.
Yeah, so of course, like similar to that, this ESG or sustainability reporting also going to take place like that, similar way.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sir, can you please share your mobile number and email ID?
I shared, sir. In the chat box, it is there, sir. I hope you got it. I shared it, my email ID and the number also.
No, can you do it again?
1 second, sir. You got it?
Not yet, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any other queries, sir?
No, we didn't get the email ID, sir. So
No, in chat box it is not there.
No, it is there. Chat box I already mentioned here.
No, not visible to us.
Not visible?
No.
No problem. I'll send it to the institute. They will share it.
Okay.
Or I can do one thing. Yeah, I will share with the institute. They will send it.
So thank you so much, sir, for taking this session. It was really
I
informative
can read it
and
for
not
everyone.
giving
Just
session.
you can note down the email ID for him. His email ID is mayanksharma@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Can you share your PPT in the chat box, sir?
I'll share to the email ID what I have. I will definitely share it.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, sir. Thank you very much for everybody, and thanks for hearing me and giving me opportunity to speak also. Thank you very much, sir and ma'am.